My name is Mia Yates. I'm 23 years old, and I work from home. I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me, and he's currently engaged to Natalie, who's 26. Natalie's quite different from me. She's outgoing and easily makes friends, while I'm not so great at socializing. Natalie's become close to our parents and often visits us without giving a heads up. Today was no exception. When she arrived, my mom welcomed her warmly. Natalie walked in, greeted my mom, and then noticed me with a puzzled expression. "You're still at home, Maya," she said without even saying hello. "I'm working from home," I replied. "Enough with that. You need to get a job," she retorted. I couldn't argue, so I just went back to my workspace. My room is like my sanctuary. It's soundproof, and I designed it myself, paying for all the modifications. I keep it locked, not letting anyone in. To enter, you have to unlock the soundproof door and then open another door inside. Feeling frustrated, I vented in my room, shouting until I felt better. Around lunchtime, the light bulb in my room blinked, signaling it's time to eat. I headed to the living room where lunch was ready. My mom suggested we eat together, so I sat down, but Natalie looked displeased. "You get hungry even though you don't work. Ever think about helping out?" she said, calling me a parasite. I stayed quiet, listening to her complaints. When my parents started eating, I joined in. Natalie wasn't happy that my parents didn't scold me for not working. "You two are too lenient with Mia. I can't marry into a family like this," she said angrily. My parents reassured her, but she kept expressing her concerns, assuming I'd always depend on others. Feeling hurt, I stopped eating and kept my head down. My mom tried to reassure Natalie, saying I do work, but Natalie seemed unconvinced. Natalie wouldn't let up. She looked at me, noting my appearance with my hair braided, thick glasses, and always wearing sweats. She couldn't believe I was actually working, looking like that. Frustrated, I tried to explain softly that appearance doesn't dictate one's work, but this only seemed to make her angrier. "What kind of job do you do then? Say it," she demanded, glaring at me. I was too scared to respond. It was my mother who stepped in, saying that only our family knows about my job and we couldn't discuss it right then. Hearing this, Natalie stood up and stormed off, questioning if she even belonged in our family. I felt bad for causing a scene, but my father reassured me not to worry and encouraged me to do what I love. Feeling relieved, I continued with dinner. Over the meal, I suggested that after my brother's wedding, I would tell Natalie about my job. My parents seemed to agree that it might be a good idea. After lunch, I got back to work. In the evening, I went grocery shopping with my mom while my dad tended to the garden. When we returned, we found Natalie in tears with my father comforting her. Concerned, my mom asked Natalie what was wrong. She couldn't speak, just sobbed harder. Seeing my father's troubled expression, I asked him what happened. He heard a loud noise from inside the house while he was in the garden and rushed to investigate. He pointed to a crowbar and hammer on the table. I instantly realized it was my room and ran towards it. The door was badly damaged, as if someone had tried to force it open. I was frozen with shock and fear. My father contacted my brother, who lived in a company dorm, and he promised to rush over after work. I decided to stay in my room until he arrived, trying to calm down. Once settled, I called my company and got permission to inform Natalie about my job after her marriage to my brother. When the room light flickered, I assumed my brother had arrived. When I left my room, I was surprised to see him already at the door. Apologizing for startling me, he said he would replace the damaged door himself, but I insisted that Natalie should compensate for it. Taking my hand, my brother led me to the living room where Natalie and my parents were. He addressed Natalie, expressing his shock at her actions, and demanded she apologize properly and compensate for the door. Natalie tearfully apologized to my brother, but he made it clear that the apology was for me, not him. Despite me saying it was okay, my brother continued to glare at Natalie. She then turned to me, knelt down, and apologized. Accepting her apology, I decided to move past the incident. but I wanted to understand why she did it. When I asked, Natalie explained that she thought if I didn't have a place to hide, I would be forced to work. Her words troubled me, making me wonder if I should tell her about my job before the wedding. However, revealing the nature of my job would go against company policy, so I chose to keep quiet about it for the time being. The tense atmosphere between my brother and Natalie bothered me, so I decided to lighten the mood by bringing out 2 live concert tickets from my room and giving one to each of them. Natalie was thrilled when she saw the tickets were for an Ames concert and turned bright red with excitement. She eagerly suggested to my brother that they go together. My brother was surprised, knowing how hard it is to get these tickets, but I assured him that I happened to acquire them and they could use them as a peace offering if they wanted. Both Natalie and my brother looked delighted, and seeing them happy made me feel joyful too. The good vibes returned, and everyone was able to forget about the damaged door and enjoy their meal. On the day of the concert, while I was out, Natalie excitedly visited my house to express her gratitude to me. Since I wasn't home, she told my parents, "Enjoy." Finally, Mia has decided to work outside and seemed genuinely happy about it. After the concert, my brother called me, thrilled about how great it was. He mentioned that Natalie is actually a huge fan of Ames and had always wanted to secure the once-in-a-year concert tickets. She was extremely excited to fulfill this long-time wish at the concert. On the way home, Natalie seemed elated, describing the experience as adorable, beautiful, and praising the songs and lyrics. When I mentioned I was glad we made up, my brother told me the soundproof door we paid for as compensation cost $7,000, to which I casually responded that it sounded about right. He was surprised at the expense, but I explained that since it was a soundproof room, all the components were pricey, which astonished him even more. Natalie was said to have mentioned that the expense hurt, but the concert made up for it. As for me, knowing my brother and his friends were getting along well made me feel really good about giving them the tickets. Natalie, still not understanding my work-from-home job, mistakenly thought I started working outside after the concert and was pleased. When she realized her mistake, she began calling and visiting my house daily, urging me to get a job before the wedding. I hoped to endure it until the ceremony, but things only escalated. Even if I didn't want to see her until then, Natalie frequently summoned me from my room to the living room, where she nagged me about getting a job before the wedding and not wanting a jobless NEET in the family. To distract her, I gave her merchandise like mascots and file cases I received from my previous company. Initially, she accepted her favorite AIM goods without question, but eventually, she started to wonder why I had so much AIM merchandise. Reluctantly, I told her a friend who works with AIM Company gives them to me. Hearing this, she smiled and asked for more tickets next time. However, she continued to demand more merchandise and started causing trouble by insisting on being allowed into my room. I managed to stop her a few times, but I was worried she might break the door again. So I mustered up the courage to give her a stern warning, saying if she broke the door again, she would be the one paying for it this time. Natalie's face turned pale upon hearing this, making me wonder if she really was planning to do it again. All I could do was hope the wedding ceremony would be over soon so I could be free. Even then, until the wedding day, there was never a day when Natalie visited or the call light didn't flash. I lost count of how many times I shouted, "Enough already," in my room. I tried talking to my brother about it, but he seemed resigned, saying he'd told Natalie countless times that I was working. But she didn't seem to listen. I wished he'd get angry like when she broke my door, but he was busy with wedding preparations. Finally, the day before the wedding arrived, and it seemed our parents would spend the day together. So we had a fun night reminiscing and looking at old photo albums. I mentioned that when I get married, my brother would have his own family, so it would just be the 3 of us with our parents. On the day before the wedding, my brother assured me he'd spend the day alone with our parents, which I appreciated. In that calm moment, his phone rang, and it was Natalie calling. When he handed me the phone, she asked about a major announcement from AIM, but I wanted to enjoy my family time and didn't want to be bothered, so I brushed it off. My brother seemed to feel the same and turned off his phone. As our father reminded us to get up early, my brother bowed deeply and thanked our parents for taking care of him. Mom jokingly remarked that's what women do when they get married, which led to laughter, ending the night on a light note. Finally, the wedding day arrived. I informed my family that I'd be a little late in the morning, and they went ahead to the venue. When I arrived later, I went to the waiting room to congratulate Natalie. However, instead of the beautiful bride, I was met with a hostile demeanor. She accused me of ignoring her call about the AIM announcement and demanded to know why I hadn't gotten a job despite her repeated requests. She made it clear she didn't want people to think I was part of the family. When I tried to explain, she shut me down, insisting I leave. Feeling dejected, I retreated to a separate room reserved for me. There, I had my makeup and hair done by professionals and changed into the cocktail dress I'd bought for the wedding. Preparing for my brother's wedding, which I wouldn't be attending, was a bittersweet experience. Amidst the preparations, I received a call from my parents. I assured them that even though I wouldn't be physically present at the ceremony, I still intended to celebrate. As the wedding ceremony began without me, I decided to watch it on the venue's monitor to feel connected to the event. There was a moment when my brother looked around for me, and it nearly brought me to tears. However, I reminded myself that it was a day for celebration, not sorrow, and continued to watch and bless the occasion. After the entertainment segment, the female MC announced a special celebration video for the newlyweds. As the room darkened, a video started playing on the monitor. The image on the screen was of AIM, whom Natalie adored, delivering a congratulatory message. In a surprising twist, AIM revealed that she was actually me, Nia, congratulating my brother and Natalie on their marriage. Natalie looked stunned, and my brother seemed to realize the truth. I apologized for not disclosing my identity earlier and explained that I was leaving for overseas work, likely never to see them again. I urged Natalie to pretend we weren't family, ending my message with well wishes for their happiness. As the lights came back on, all eyes were on Natalie, who looked visibly shaken. Later, my brother informed me that after we left, Natalie broke down crying, regretting her actions. Apparently, she was now known as the bride who wasn't considered family by AIM, and my speech had gone viral on social media. I heard she couldn't even face her neighbors anymore due to the embarrassment.